Gosh, it is Monday, February 5th. Yes, I had to look that up. 2024. Let's get through what The View did talk about before we get to what they didn't. The Grammys were last night, and they had a whole thing about Jay-Z getting up and giving a speech, kind of blasting the Grammys for Beyonce never winning for Album of the Year, even though she's won more Grammys than any other artist in history. And she's won them for all sorts of different things. So it's not like she's undecorated. I'm with Whoopi on this. It's like I just don't think you get to whinge. It's not like there's a committee that's deciding. It's just the voting, the Recording Academy voting. Um, they're not the public. The whoever's in the Recording Academy. Is there racism involved in some of that? Probably somewhere there internally. There's a lot of weird decision making going on from the musicians about who they think that they should be giving accolades to. The same thing happens with any kind of award system like that, where it's the members of the group that are deciding who's are voting, because they're not deciding, they're voting, and then those votes get tabulated. So it isn't like there's a committee going on, um, sending out the crowning achievements, um, and uh, she she usually loses out in that category, to people who have written the majority of their own stuff. I think people like to recognize, singer songwriters, the people who are actually the primary authors of their work, and she has teams of writers and producers putting those records together. So I think that probably doesn't help her case, but it's not like I hate this whole whinging about not getting an award. You've been nominated a million times. Your music is obviously recognized in the 32 Grammys that she already has. So like, just I don't like the complaining. Like, and it, that doesn't matter. So, but let's talk for a second about the Grammys last night, because they were amazing. That's one of the best awards shows I've seen in years. Um, there were surprises, because they didn't announce, well, the guests were going to be. That's how you get people to tune in. You don't tell them and then they'll all watch it on YouTube later. Get them to tune in immediately, because there will be unexpected events. Like, you want that real time experience of, oh my gosh, there's Tracy Chapman, who has not performed it live in, like, I think she's performed 3 times in the last 15 years. And that's not on TV. That's just performing in public. She just doesn't do it anymore. And not at all for the last 9 years. So that's amazing. And that song is amazing. I was kind of annoyed at the cover when the guy did it, Luke Combs, because it's like, well, it's just, he didn't do anything. It's just, he's just singing the same song, and her version's better. But his reverence for that song and his reverence for her, and um, how much attention it has got given her. She now has, she's the first black female writer of a #1 country song. Like, that's pretty cool. And she's making some bank. So good for Tracy Chapman. That was amazing. Um, Somehow they managed to do the in memoriam that that showcased performances, as well as actually honored the people that they're trying to pay their respects to. That, because the most award shows get that wrong. They either they're focused too much on whoever's performing, and not actually giving the attention to the people that they're trying to honor. So somehow they managed that really nicely. I think part of it is that they would stop the memoriam to focus on the performance, and then go back and do the wider shots. And fucking Annie Lennox killed it. No pun intended. Uh, and although I was not necessarily overly thrilled with Fantasia Barrino's performance, I feel like giving Tina the last spot in the in memoriam and having the eulogy done by Oprah was fairly appropriate. So I love that. Um, I have really been enjoying this sort of new era of Miley Cyrus. She's not really performing live anywhere. She just put out this record, and it just seemed more adult and self-aware. And I was like, oh, good, Miley's growing up. And then she gets on the stage and she sings Flowers, which is such a like an empowerment and a liberation anthem. And she sang it as a revenge song, and it was so fucking disappointing. And clearly trying to emulate Tina Turner, and that's the antithesis of what Tina was about. So that was disappointing. I mean, I'm glad she won, but it's like, yeah, you kind of you still got some work to do there, Miley. Find a better therapist. Uh, and what else? I don't know. I enjoyed the whole thing. I liked Taylor Swift winning. I don't give a shit whether or not she was effusive about Celine Dion when she picked up her award from her. Somebody clearly distracted her at the time. And uh, if you added up all of the numbers of the date yesterday, right? It was 2/4/2024 to two. You add that all up, it adds up to 13. I love stupid shit like that. Anyway, so the Grammys were great. That really was a well done awards show. Um, I don't remember what they talked about next. Nikki Haley on Saturday Night Live. I don't think I care. I'm annoyed that they gave her the Live from New York line. I think they managed to make fun of her to her face, which kind of went over her head, which I thought was hilarious. And I don't remember that woman's name from The Bear. Um, uh, it, 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 I don't know how to say her last name. I'm sure I would butcher it, but that show was fucking phenomenal. She's 100% built for that. She's been the best performer of any guest host all season, and I think in years. She just she was just nailing it. It wasn't awkward. It wasn't like she had characters and she went with it, and I thought that was fantastic. Um, and I don't think the one thing that Nikki Haley's appearance does is it gets under Donald Trump's skin, and uh, it, I, for that I kind of appreciate the fact that she's sticking around, just to keep needling him because she gets under his skin more than anybody else does. So for that, I'm thankful, and I wish Amy Alyssa Fairfowler Griffin would shut the fuck up. Um, her friend, her best friend Cassidy Hutchinson, has fully endorsed Joe Biden and asked people to go vote for Joe Biden. That's the best way to get rid of Trump. I don't know why you're not on the same train, Amy Alyssa Fairfowler Griffin, because sitting on American morning television and taking shots at Biden isn't going to help. Um, so when it's do whatever you can to keep Donald Trump out of the presidency, then get the fuck on the Biden train, dum dum. She's annoying the shit out of me these days, and so is Sarah. Because I don't know, Sarah seems like an adolescent now. I don't know what's going on with her. But the one thing they didn't talk about again, Joy Reid even brought up Donald Trump's failure at the border, and today the whatever it is 700-page bill that the Senate is considering about the border and funding Ukraine and funding Israel was released, and like a minute later, the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, says this bill is terrible. We won't be voting on it. He hasn't read it yet. You haven't read a fucking word of it, and highlighting that hypocrisy that the fucking Republicans keep hammering about the problems at the border, and then they're not actually willing to do anything to solve it. Um, unless their guys in the White House, that's not governing. And I don't know why we're not hammering that home. Like, what are they waiting for? Why are they not talking about this? Um, that's the thing that they should be talking about every day, not fucking Nikki Haley. Ay, ay, ay. I tell ya. Anyway, that's it. I'm gonna go make pancakes.